Hey everybody, it's Kai from the Techno Funk Boy. So this is Dragonlance for 5th edition. This is where I'm kind of going through my notes on running the original Dragonlance campaign, but in the 5th edition world. And giving some pointers on how to run this as a DM, and building this world, rebuilding this world based on the original material over here. So we're going to take a detour from the actual modules, and part of this discussion is how do we transfer things? How do we... Essentially, what we're going to have to do is homebrew a lot of stuff in order to make it work in 5th edition. We did start on Chapter 1 of Dragons of Despair. I'll put the link up here so that if you haven't seen that, we're going to tackle Chapter 2 relatively soon. But there's a couple of things that we have to hit first. Partially because your party now has a blue crystal staff. Secondly, your party might have a staff of Magius. And thirdly, your party is about to face their first Draconians. And we gotta get ready for that. We gotta get prepared for that. And so this is what I did. I had I was collecting a lot of materials, and a lot of this stuff, thankfully, people have gone before us and done a lot of this work for us. And so there's a lot of stuff that you can take just from the materials from the book and run with it. And a lot of it is going to be very, very useful to you. But a lot of people have already kind of put in a 5th edition twist on things that has been very, very good. And I want to encourage really hitting up those resources hard, because a lot of this stuff is fantastic. I'm going to show you some of it. So in my game, what I did was I had a lot of these pages that had some 5th edition homebrew versions of these items up, and I had them up, and I just closed. For some reason, I had closed earlier in the day the blue crystal staff page, and I couldn't find it. And so in a hurry, not even thinking, I just dumped the stats from the book for the blue crystal staff in the chat. And that doesn't really work, because one of the biggest things that's changed over the years has been magic, and this item is magic. And so there's a lot of stuff that you can take from it, I think it's like a plus, it kind of acts as like a +1 quarter staff or something like that. So you can just take that. That's easy. It's the same thing with the staff of Magius, but there's a lot of stuff you can't. And so let's head over this now. There are a few blue crystal staffs homebrew, and I don't want to tell you which one to choose, especially with this one, and as a quick aside, this video is meant for dungeon masters. If you're a player that's watching this particular video, we're not going to go into plot, but we are going to go into some of the things that these items can do that you might not know about yet, especially if you're low level. And so if you have not finished Dragons of Despair yet, then please head on out at this point, because the blue crystal staff, you might have noticed, is important. Everybody's hunting for this one, right? So let's head over to this one. This one is something I found over at Obsidian Portal, and this is just a very, very simple description of the blue crystal staff. This one's fairly simple. It's got a lot of the stats. It's got the spells that it can use. Keeping in mind, the blue crystal staff is not staying around forever. It will be going by the wayside very soon. My party did not use it very much at all. And so there were some time. There's some stuff that goes on in Zaxxaroth that your party might need this might need this in a big way. My party did not, and so this wasn't that big a deal. But you can take a lot of this stuff that I think is really fantastic. It's even gotten some bonuses that I think are pretty cool if your character's already a cleric. And I said in a previous video, I would encourage your players that if they want to play a cleric, to play a cleric. Just because there's no divine magic in the world right now doesn't mean that that's always going to be the case. And playing a cleric, especially like this early in the game, is actually really, really cool and takes some creativity to do. But in this case, one of the reasons I like this is it gives some bonuses if you're actually a cleric and all that. Now, it says cleric of Mishikal. That's nonsense. That's pure nonsense. The worship of the old gods is not here anymore. It's not really a thing. And so, but I would go ahead and give these bonuses to someone who is a cleric. Perhaps story-wise that Mishkal is feeling a special connection to them, or wants to kind of coax those people into the fold, so to speak. But there's a number of ways. So there's a lot of stuff this thing can do. As far as like the staff of Magius goes. So there's a couple of things to deal with here. First of all, if your characters are playing the characters from the book, then Raceland has it already. And so you've got to deal with it. But Raceland's the only one who has it. And so if you don't have a Raceland in your party, then they don't have the staff. And if you just have a mage that like my game is, we're not playing the characters from the book. We're playing new characters, and so I'm not just going to hand a wizard the staff of Magius. It doesn't make any sense that if it's not Raceland, that I'm not just going to be like, oh well, you're the Raceland stand-in, here you go. No, what I did is I put this in Zaxxaroth as a treasure that could be found. We're going to go into a little bit about how I do treasure in a future episode when we actually get to Zaxxaroth more. But I this is a really cool item, and I want them to have it, especially because there's so much magic items to homebrew here. But I don't want to I don't want them to bring it into the game, because that doesn't really make any sense. And so it is in Zaxxaroth. It is findable there. And so I like this thing I like this thing enough that I don't want it to not be part of the game. Just because Raceland's not there, I don't want it to not be part of the game. And so that's one way to do it. Now, I found on DragonlanceNexus.com, and if you're running Dragonlance, bookmark this page. DragonlanceNexus.com is a fantastic resource. There's a lot of stuff on converting this game into 5e, 4e, Pathfinder, all sorts of cool stuff. It is a fantastic resource, and it should be one that you visit quite often. And so this is actually a PDF on that site that is just fantastic. And so we're going to head over there. The staff of Magius is, and it's just a little over a page of detail on this. The thing I like about this, there's a couple of things I like about this. First of all, in the books, there's like this element of the staff of Magius like growing with the wielder, and that mechanic is in here. It's under the secrets section right here. It has hidden powers that once as you're growing, there's it's basically a dice roll on if you're picking up on some of this stuff, and you can accidentally cast a spell that you did not know was part of the staff itself, and then you do essentially an Arcana check to see if you can make that, figure out how it does that and what to do about it, and then it just becomes part of your repertoire. And so I really like this. Another cool thing that it does is, first of all, this only works if you've passed the test of high sorcery. Now in my game, so if you start off with the characters from the book, or if you start off with characters that are 3rd level and higher, then you're going to assume that your mage has already passed the test and is already wearing the robes of that particular school. But my game, we started at level 1. And the test does not occur until you're level 3 or 4. We're going to go into that test later on how I am running it. But we're actually putting the test as part of the game. And so there's one section here on once you've passed the test, then you can do some really cool stuff with it. And using it as an arcane focus, double spell durations, and adds 1 damage per die rolled for each spell. Now that is a fantastic bonus that just gets kind of exponentially better as you go, as you start casting at higher levels. When you start learning the other spells that it can do is at 6th level, and so we have some certain moments where the staff starts getting stronger, and this is a really cool aspect to the staff. And so it once you pass the test, then its powers start really opening up, and then once you start hitting 6th level, then it starts fully opening up until you figure out all of its secrets. The recharging in true Dragonlance fashion is tied to the moons, and so that's this section here. If 2 of the moons are full, it regains a bonus charge. If 3 moons are full, it really starts charging, and so that the cycle of the moons affects everything that a wizard who has passed the test does. And I love that aspect of Dragonlance. I think it's really cool, and causes some strategic thinking on when to try to attempt stuff and that sort of thing. That I think is really neat. So I'm going to put a link to all 3 of these in the notes here, but this is one to definitely check out. So the last thing that we're going to look at, because this is coming up, is our Draconians. Now, there's a lot that we can just take from the book and put them into, just straight out translate them. It's easy enough to figure out. It's like, okay, in the book they have this many hit die. What does that translate to in the 5th edition? But we really don't need to. This is the hard work here has been done, and so what I did is I went over to dndwiki.com, another fantastic site with some amazing homebrew stuff. And just there's all the Draconians are here, and I'm just flat out copying the work that's been done here, because frankly it's fantastic work that I would not have done any better and so this is saving me a lot of time and a lot of effort. And so this is just a really great work that has already been done for you. Just take advantage of these things. I mean, if you just really want to homebrew your own Draconian, then go for it. But in the meantime, this has all the information we need for 5th edition, everything we need to know, and be able to play them in our game. And so, really great resource. I will of course throw the link to this as well down in the notes here. If you're following along with us, then you've already gone through chapter 1, and so this is the time where we're about to go battling in chapter 2. It's going to be the next video, and so we need to know that blue crystal staff stuff. We need to know the Draconian stuff, because we're going headlong into the Draconian nest, and your players are going to get quite a few Draconians coming up in the near future. And so this is the time where you really need to be inserting this stuff in the game as you go. There's a lot of other stuff that's in the book that can be put in here. A lot of the characters in the book, if you use the traditional Dragonlance Chronicles heroes, they have different magic items, but a lot of these are just +1s, +2s. They don't have a lot of really decent effect. A lot of them are just skinned +1s. The helm of Griffin's Mane, which is horsehair, but it's Griffin's Mane, is in there. I think it's just a reskinned +1 helmet. Which is great. This is stuff that, like, again, my characters were not using the traditional characters, and so I threw that into Zaxxroth as a magical item. Anything that can be that has that kind of unique flair to it. I'm not as much of a fan as just strictly swords +1. I like my things that do a thing. And have a feel to them, have a look to them, and so anything like that I could just translate. I'm going to that, where at very least it has a unique look to it. But of all the things in Dragons of Despair, these are the 3 things that are going to need us to work on them a little bit, but thankfully, just doing some quick Google searches, heading over to like D&D Wiki, to Dragonlance Nexus, these type of websites, fantastic resources, and I do very much encourage you to hang out there. So hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell. Chapter 2 is coming up very, very soon, and we're going to keep rolling through Dragons of Despair. The rest is battle. The rest is dungeon. We've gone through all the world building that we're going to get, or at least world building that's not actually part of the dungeon. But we're going to head into battle now, and so we need to take a look at that and see how in the world are we going to handle this massive dungeon and translate it into 5e. So I do encourage you to subscribe, to hit the bell below, and we will see you soon.